Evening. I hope you're all feeling well tonight. It's 6:59 p.m. and just about to hit 7 over here on the East Coast and broadcasting live from the docks of the old parachute factory over here in New York and syndicated around the globe via Hill.net, quitefrankly.tv, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Twitter, you name it. You name it. And there's a slim possibility we might be there because, I mean, you know, how many sites are there? We're only on about 7. But anyway, plenty of ways to watch us live, plenty of ways to enjoy us after the fact, and whatever you choose, I hope that tonight is an enjoyable experience because I think that we have a good one. I wanted to try to break it up a little bit because last night we were doing some heavy stuff with the WHO and Noor bin Laden, and then on the other hand, we were talking about just the depth of censorship and the systems that have been laid and put in place, layered on top of us through net neutrality and everything else. We're talking about that. We were also discussing a little bit of what happened and is going on with InfoWars, or what broke over the weekend with Harrison Smith. It was a great show last night, and then book club afterward was sensational. I really hope that many of you do that over the next couple of years. Just take the plunge. It's so important that we start reading, and this, I already have so many topics of conversation that I want to be able to bring up and make it a part of the show based on Ray Bradbury's work with Dandelion Wine. It's just one of those things where I am it's wonderful. And tonight it's actually going to bleed through a little bit for us on this show, and I can't wait to do that because I have several topics that'll be good that you can comment on all of them and in combination too. Let's get around to that. All right, so first thing up is we're just going to our grab bag, just see what's going on there, kick this one off, and then we're going to open up the lines. It's going to be mainly an open lines kind of a night, but I'm going to feed you enough stuff to where, I mean, just jump in on it. And again, wherever the hell you watch, please be a part of it. Pick up the phone, get on Skype, whatever the hell it is, give us a buzz and be part of it tonight. So I want to get into grab bag. And was there any other special announcements here? Give me 1 second when I go up. We've been doing a lot of booking there too. We're going to be doing oh shit moments here tonight as well. That'll be another gimme that I'll throw your way. And another thing, I'd like to really just add to people, on quitefrankly.tv, on the contact page on quitefrankly.tv, right along the nav bar up top, there is a contact page, and over there there is a link to get in touch with us if you want to be a guest, or if you have a really great guest suggestion. I'll open it up to that as well. You guys always share great guests with me, and I have had the pleasure of meeting a lot of new people because of some of the suggestions that have come in with this audience over the years. And I am working at the moment to do a lot more booking, and it reminded me I haven't plugged this part of the site in a long time. So if you are a surgeon, a survival specialist, a private investigator, anyone with an incredible story to tell, I don't care what it is. We have some members of the audience out there that grew up in the circus. I want to know about this shit. Get in touch with me. Anybody with an incredible story to tell. I don't want to talk about the New World Order 3-4 nights out of 5 every week. Don't want to do it. Okay? Get in touch with me. If you know somebody, you're 1 degree of separation from that person, get on the contact page on quitefrankly.tv and start peppering me with stuff. It may happen, it may not happen, doesn't matter. I just want to get a lay of the land and remind you that that portal is there for everybody. I would also like to take a moment to say, please, everybody, ramp up your prayers for Linda Love and her family, as from what she's telling me, things are getting a little bit gravely serious. And with her mother, who got into a very serious car accident about 2 weeks ago. And I know a lot of you have made acquaintances and friendships with her over the years watching this show. So just keep her and her family in your intentions, because it's definitely weighing on her, and it's certainly traumatic to have this kind of thing happen so suddenly. So thank you for that. All right. Okay, so here you go. From the opening, I have a little bit from the Daily Mail about NATO. Take a listen to this. NATO, oh, I'm sorry, it's a Daily Mail. So it has covered 97% of its page with ads from God knows. Timu, great. Revealed, NATO plan to get U.S. troops to the front line to fight Russia. You heard what I said, ladies and gentlemen. The front line to fight Russia. They're getting it. They're really going for it now. Really going for it. While Joe Biden makes this limp-wristed attempt at closing down the border temporarily. You hear about anybody who takes that and believes it. Anybody who falls for that right there, because they know that that's one of the biggest things he's getting destroyed on right now, is the fact that all of the people who identify as the Democrats, so many of them who live in big cities and the neighboring suburbs, they're living with the physical toll that the border from 2,000 miles away has brought us. It's already here. It's destroying. There's a physical impact now. It's not a theoretical one. It's not one that you can, safely philosophize about from so many miles away. It's in your backyard, literally in your backyard now, and it's all over the place. And they're not staying in blue states, they're not staying there. Blue states, as I forgot who said it, and it's so true. There's no such thing as a blue state. It's only blue cities, because outside those cities, people usually have a good grasp on reality, a decent grasp on reality, better than in the cities anyway. And now, because he's getting destroyed over the reality that people are seeing every day, that's not going to go away, because supposedly they got a headline that the southern border has been temporarily shut down and amnesty has been canceled for a little while and all that other shit, even though we're getting reports that people are getting rubber stamped and all of their court hearings are being removed from the docket, and they're just being set free to do whatever the hell they want, to be arrested time and time and time again, violent crimes, theft, it doesn't matter. So that's what the play is right now. Stop the hemorrhaging somehow. And some amoeba out there is going to say, this is awesome. This is the most hard-nosed thing. Well, I mean, what else do you want them to do? 10 million people later. What else do you want them to do? You're just not satisfied with anything, they'll say. Screwy people we have to live around. Anyway, while that's going on, we've got this. NATO plan to get U.S. troops to the front line to fight Russia. Alliance prepares for rapid deployment of American soldiers amid fears Moscow is plotting major war with Europe. NATO leaders previously agreed to ready 300,000 troops for rapid deployment. That's going to be a lot of people dead real quick. NATO is drawing up plans to send American troops to the front lines of Europe in the event of an all-out conflict with Russia, if they are actually finally successful to start it. New land corridors are being carved out to quickly funnel soldiers through Central Europe without local bureaucratic impediments, allowing NATO forces to pounce in an instant should Putin's devastating war in Ukraine move further west. It is shown no signs of that being the case, wanting to do anything of the sort, but of course we are being led to the slaughter by psychopaths. Absolute psychopaths. And Colonel Douglas McGregor, retired, put this out there. Breaking. NATO now planning to get U.S. troops in the front line fight against Russia. Here it is over there on his Twitter. NATO, what are they thinking? Douglas McGregor asked. NATO has disclosed its preparations to deploy American troops to the European front lines in the event of a full-scale conflict with Russia. Innovative land corridors are being established to expedite the movement of soldiers. This strategic setup enables NATO forces to swiftly react should Putin's aggressive actions extend westward. Reports suggest that these plans also encompass provisions for potential Russian attacks. In such scenarios, troops should mobilize through corridors in Italy, Greece, and Turkey to reach the Balkans or alternatively advance toward Russia's northern border via Scandinavia. These details were shared by officials at the Telegraph. They have a nice map and everything. Essentially just planning and rationalizing the war for everybody, because anybody that's doing this kind of stuff, I mean, if there's a war, if there's a real threat there, then plans are being made in private. But of course, all along the way, they need to be able to manufacture consent and some sort of a rationale for doing what has no way to rationale. There's no rationale. So we'll see where that goes over the next couple of weeks. Douglas McGregor again. Well, this is the last thing we'll do before we get into the show. He says, breaking, Ukraine strikes Russia with Western weapons. According to the New York Times, here we go, says Douglas McGregor. Just shortly following the Biden administration's authorization for Ukraine to employ American weaponry against Russia, Kiev swiftly acted on this newfound liberty by targeting a military installation across the border, utilizing a U.S.-manufactured artillery system as indicated by a member of Ukraine's parliament. Yehor Chernev, the deputy chairman of Ukraine's Parliament Committee on National Security, Defense, and Intelligence, disclosed on Tuesday that Ukrainian forces had successfully neutralized Russian missile launchers with a strike in the Belgorod region, approximately 20 miles into Russian territory. This marks the inaugural instance of a Ukrainian official openly acknowledging the use of American weaponry to engage targets within Russia, subsequent to President Biden's rescindment of the prohibition on such actions. So, I guess if you're watching how the chips are being laid and how the pieces are being set on the board, these are significant movements. And as we pointed out last week, when all of the convictions came down from the court in New York, we said, whereas there was really no surprise about that, somebody was going to get a jury to convict on something. How many charges they throw at him? Nearly 100. This was the bigger story as far as the potential fallout and implications for the entire planet, not just us, but of course, we're talking about God knows how many American troops would be involved in this directly just off the bat. So there you go. Okay, that's a little bit off the top. All very happy news. Now let's get into other things, shall we? We're going to be talking about oh shit moments. Going to be talking about other things in life tonight. I can't wait to bring it all to your front door. So don't go anywhere. Stick around and enjoy the ride.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Sure. Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Okay. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. And as you know, on most nights, I know every night, it is you have more than one way of contributing to the conversation or leaving a little bit of a message for me, the audience, whatever the hell it is. If you have a joke you want to tell, if you have a shout out you want to make, if you have any kind of wisdom you want to impart onto us tonight, which is going to be part of the format. Random wisdom. Okay? I want you to leave wisdom for us. Send them through Super Chats as well. I would love for you to pick up the phone and get through on Skype or on Zoom. I have 2 lines that are going to be working tonight. But also, there is, quite frankly, superchat.com, which is universal for everybody, especially those of you in YouTube. YouTube, you're just sitting there watching. There's no way to contribute, because we are demonetized there. So go to, quite frankly, superchat.com on another tab, and you'll be able to send a message to the show that'll be read in real time. And everybody else, you have your Rumble rants, you have your gold pills, you have your tips and all that stuff. So you have that all at your fingertips. So what do we got going on tonight? Here's the first thing I want to bring up tonight, because we did a lot of heavy lifting and it's still a little heavy in the grab bag. So I want to just get into life and nostalgia and all that other good stuff. The first question I'm going to ask everybody as we're opening up the lines, 914-200-0269. That is just the general open line, okay? The first question I want everybody to take a swipe at is, what would you rather? A rainy summer night or a snowy winter night? What is more your jam, okay? If you have to pick one. Can't say I want both, because I know both have their charm, and I enjoy both greatly. But you have to tell me why rainy summer night or snowy winter night. So that's number one. When you call in off the top or at the end, let me know what you're saying on there. I put out a poll on the 30th. So over the weekend, I put out a poll. I said, what say you? Rainy summer? Snowy winter, and I will tell you the results toward the end, or no, maybe in a little while, what edged out. But it was pretty decent. It was close enough, but there's a clear winner, no doubt about it. And I just want to see what's going on with you. The second thing here is holy shit moments. Okay, these are moments in life where it was not a near-death experience, nothing like that, but something that just missed you. You just missed something big that could have been really bad, or something that was breathtaking from I don't know. It was a shock to the system that actually did not physically do anything to you, where you were just left in the wake of something huge, potentially destructive, whatever the hell was going on, an extreme sports accident, something where you are just, holy shit. Now, we already had the first story like this. It was contributed last week. It was on Friday night. We had a lady call in to talk about a night that her dog, a Jack Russell, was dragged off by a bear into the woods, and she, with all of her fear, all of her anxiety, all that, ran bounding into the woods. And after a couple of turns in the brush, she comes face to face with this bear, locks eyes with this bear that is standing over her dog that is just lost, gone. And she was able to get out of that situation unscathed, but still, that's one of those things, to lock eyes with a bear that just murdered your dog. And I mean, there's a lot going on there. I have another one that was just sent in to me too, but I'll show you what inspired my wanting to ask you guys this. Here's a minute-long YouTube short that I came across of a guy having a base jumping accident with a parachute off the side of a mountain. Now, I say accident because it didn't go as planned, but he seems to be totally fine. And here's one of those things, those oh shit moments, because at the end, I'm pretty sure he says something along the line, I forget what it is, but I'm sure he says something along the lines of, that's it, I'm ready, goodbye. Like he was saying goodbye. He was resigned. He was calm. He was saying goodbye. That was it. And then you'll see. So here, take a look at this. Let's go. He's about to jump.
Ready, set, go.
And away he goes. Here comes the parachute and something's wrong. He's cursing. He says, I'm fucked. It's coming down. He says, I'm ready. Bye. But he landed in some snow. He's alive. He's not paralyzed. He's sitting there. He's getting a lay of the land. Obviously, one of his friends is still up at the top of the peak. But just to say that, I'm ready. Bye. Wow. But then he's just sitting there. And it's not over. In fact, I'm sure he's shaken up in some way, but I would take the position he's in right now. I don't care if I have to trek down half of that mountain. It doesn't matter. It is going to be the greatest walk of my life. What's that line from Fight Club? After Durden holds the gun to that guy's head, the veterinarian or something like that, asks him why he quit school, why he stopped studying, all that, and then just puts the fire under his ass by putting that fear of life and death against his temple. And he says tomorrow his breakfast will never taste better ever in his life because he had gone through that, a holy shit moment. Do you guys have anything like that? If you have a holy shit moment, you're going to be calling the holy shit hotline. Write it down. The holy shit hotline is 914-369-1236. That's the line that we're dedicating to these holy shit moments in your life. There's another one over here that I have that's not a mistake, that's not a whoops, but there's also just, I'm going to save it for after the intermission, but that's your holy shit hotline. That's it right there. 914-369-1236. And then there is a third topic that I want to bring up in the second half, and I'll start dribbling in some random wisdom here. But I want to just not only invite people to come on with any kind of random wisdom that they learned, whether it be a phrase that someone passed down to them, a grandparent, a great-grandparent, whatever it is. But there is a part in Dandelion Wine that we just read through. It's around page 26 or 27. I was thinking about bringing the book. I said, no, I can do it without that. It's wonderful, though. And it has to do with discoveries. It's called Discoveries and Revelations. Okay? So I'm just going to give you a little bit of something here. In the book, you have two boys. The main character is Douglas. That's what Ray Bradbury based himself on. And it really is all about the summer when he turned 12 years old. And he really started to reflect on things, to really start reflecting on him being alive, truly alive, conscious, and also the nature of time passing and these summertime rituals and family and just the magic of it all. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm going to be so upset when it's over, but I'm going to read this over and over again. I already bought 3 other copies because I want another copy for myself when I auction this one away, and then I have to give 2 other copies to my brother and my father. I have to demand that they read it immediately. Anyway, so you have 2 brothers, Doug and his younger brother, Tom. Doug is about 12, and his perspective on things, everything around him, it's changing rapidly. And Tom is a little bit behind still. He's still very, very young, but you know, in this book, you have Doug who's really starting to understand, like I said, the rituals of summertime and grasping the passage of time, the effect it has, mourning the end of ordinary days that he knows deep down inside are very, very special, and there's no way that you're going to be able to duplicate them, because he's starting to see the fragility and everything, the temporariness and things and the people around him. I mean, that's a big moment in life. You know, when you start to understand how fragile and vulnerable the titans in your life really are, your parents, your grandparents, that they can make mistakes, that they don't know everything, and that they themselves can become scared and confused. You know, what do I do now? You know, to tremble in fear over something. That's big. So he's starting to see that time is fleeting, that life is fleeting, that everybody around him, they're not invincible. And it's all really hitting him at once here in this summer of 1928. And in the short chapter that I was reading through, he's talking this over with his brother Tom about seeing things that they do over and over again with a pair of new eyes. Old routines, but with new eyes. The things that we repeat, the seasonal rituals, things we start doing unconsciously, they call those rites and ceremonies. That's what they call it in the book. I'm going to list this under rites and ceremonies. Keeping track of things like how many popsicles they ate over the course of a summer, when the first lightning bugs were caught, things like that. Or in this book, the biggest theme, of course, is the making of the Dandelion wine. The importance of going out, having the grandparents tell them to go out to gather the dandelions so that they can go and press them into what they call dandelion wine, which is a medicine, a pick-me-up. However it was used, it was a rite of passage. It was a rite of summer. And then there are the old things made new through reflection, all right? This is where they started. This is where Douglas, who, like I said before, Ray Bradbury wrote as himself, is realizing in his 12th summer that he is alive, that he's starting to reflect on his life and the temporariness of everything around, the things that we take for granted, that we do every day, that become ritual and mundane, okay? That suddenly become new again because you're looking at them with different eyes from a different perspective. Now, this is very much in the same vein as the deer scene, but not quite, which is why I want to bring it up to you guys. And I just want to riff with you all. So, like the dandelion, for example, the gathering of the dandelions, the pressing them into wine, it became ritual, but it became new again when Douglas looked at it from this perspective, the perspective being that this wine was he realized it was a physical piece of summer 1928 that had been bottled and now kept safe from the passage of time, which I think is a very profound thing for anybody to take a look at it. And there's more, but I wanted to just focus on this. So it goes from the pressing of the dandelions into the wine, and that's just something that you do every year. But now you're looking at it and you see that these summers are so much more precious because you know it's not going to last forever. And that this summer is just so magical that this wine became an actual bottled piece of it. And that's a huge thing. That's a huge, huge thing that I wanted to be able to bring to you and ask you guys. How have you come to see old things in a new way in your life? I don't know how this is going to go. And just like with the deer scene, the more insignificant as something may sound, the better. You know, just like with, hey, you know, I tell you the story about how I used to pick dandelions for my grandparents and we would eat it as salad. Very nice indeed. But is that really groundbreaking? No, there's something else that changes inside of you once you look at it from a different perspective. So I just want to know, how have you come to see old things in your life in a new way? And because this is the right in the same category as of conversation that we have every August with the deer scene. And I'd love to talk to you about discoveries and revelations that are buried inside of mundane things. I think that's a wonderful topic to jump on. So that you can call in with just the plain old open line. That's 914-200-0269. Just give it to me. Whatever you got. Call in. So first we're going to go to the holy shit line. Let's do it. 845, you're on the air. Go ahead. Holy shit.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing some yard work, enjoying summer at its best.
Nice.
I was going to say, it dawned on me, the dandelion at that age is a symbol of, like, testosterone rising in the body. The pressing of the dandelion into wine that can be held for a long period of time, harking back to periods of time when people had children earlier, but as a young man, when you're in the fruit and the springtime of your youth, and you press your dandelion. I'm sorry, lost it.
No, well, what you're talking about there is a spending. I'm talking about a saving. You know, the bottling up, the bottling up of the wine and the physical preservation of a piece of that summer. That's something that you save up. What you're talking about with the pressing of your own dandelion over there, that's an expenditure that you don't get that back.
I think about some of my most amazing times in life, where, like, summertime and the girl who was pressing my dandelion, and there's no way that, I guess you capture that in memories. There's no way to hold that as far as but I could tick off, God bless me, I could tick off 3 or 4 summers, 3 or 4 different girls who pressed my dandelion in ways that I didn't know could be happen. And
well,
I can save them in memory, but
right. Well, maybe you can press them into a bottle next time. Press them all into a bottle. It's just, that's a good one. I see he went to another direction. So let's keep it up. That's open lines for 200-0269 if you've got your discoveries and revelations thoughts. Seeing something old in a new way. Okay? The holy shit line, which is what the dandelion presser just called, is for moments that you almost bit it. 701, how you doing?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, 701?
Hey, Frank, it's Mike. I was calling in for the holy shit line, right?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. I guess I decided I was going to try whitewater kayaking one time, and I had no clue how to roll back up once you go upside down. Decided I was going to take a really serious run in Colorado where they have a lot of commercial trips, and realized pretty quick I was over my head, but of course I had to keep going, and I went off of a rapid called Big Drop and got sucked into the recirculating current in front of it.
Oh no.
And I was upside down, couldn't get up to upright, and I went to pull my skirt off, and I realized the last time I had got washed out of a rapid, I had not put the tab out where I could grab a hold of it to exit the kayak. And it was some pretty serious panic for about, I don't even know how long. It felt like 10 minutes under there, but I managed to kind of calm down, just lean up against the boat, and managed to get a handful of the skirt and pop it out and swim out. But it was, man, afterwards I caught the realization. I was like, holy cow, that was close.
Well, let me ask you something. When you were caught at the bottom of that drop and you're underwater, you're capsized, are you also spinning clockwise or counterclockwise as well?
No, I was kind of parallel with the face of the big rock drop-off kind of waterfall thing, and it was just kind of keeping me in, bouncing me back and forth.
So you were getting beat down by the waterfall on top of it all?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was a pretty good one. I ended up becoming a whitewater rescue swimmer years later, but...
Well, there you go. I guess that's that is a story you told everybody in your swimming classes afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Dude, well, thank you for that. That is definitely a holy shit line. What do you remember anything about the day, the rest of the day after you got back? You regained your bearings. You got back to the surface. You're not going to die. Do you remember what you had for dinner that night? Like anything?
No, I do remember a lot of the rest of the trip because we were kind of in a canyon. There's no exit roads back out to the highway for like the next 15, 20 miles, something like that. So I just had to get back in the boat and hit every rapid the rest of the way down the river.
Well, dude, thank you for the call. That's a wonderful one. I like it. Hello, you're on the line. Open lines. Do you have a discovery or a revelation?
I'm looking for the holy shit moments.
The holy shit moments. Okay. Well, that's fine too. Give me a holy shit.
Holy shit. Well, hey, Frank, this is the Viking calling you back.
Hey, man.
Years ago, I'm having a lovely sunset evening planting flowers out here in Maine. But years ago, I lived in Florida, and I was a surfer 24/7. So this guy, the last guy's story, kind of resonates, that being held down. I got plenty of stories, where you wipe out and you're getting tumbled around underwater, and you swim, and you think you're swimming towards the surface, and you bump into the bottom, and you're like, oh shit. But I've got one story, and it was a Thanksgiving, and I had just had dinner at my girlfriend's house, and it had been storming all day. Waves were great. Anybody who's listening, who surfs, and knows what a groundswell is, we were having a fantastic groundswell in Palm Beach, like 8 to 10 foot. And I go down to the beach after dinner, and there's nobody there. It's Thanksgiving. The sky is this crazy battleship gray, and when it rains really heavy, sometimes the water gets gin clear, just like gin. And I paddle out. It's a big day. I'm a couple hundred yards off the coast. I sit up and I start scraping a little bit of wax off my board, and it's making this squeaking sound. And I'm going, oh great, I'm going to attract a shark. I sound like a dying fish. And I look up to the north where the swell's coming from, and I see a fin. And I'm like, oh fuck, I've done it. I've manifested it. And I'm 200 yards off the shore. This isn't a rinky-dink day where you can just hop out of the water. I'm looking, and I look back, and I'm like, oh, fuck, there's no waves coming. There's no chance of getting in. And then I see more fins, and I go, wait a minute. That's a fucking pod of dolphins. And this pod of dolphins comes out of the north, and they're coming with a swell. When you're surfing and sets come in, there's dolphins riding in these waves, and I'm just sitting there, and I don't even try and catch a wave. I watch these dolphins come in, and they split, and they go around either side of me. I'm just sitting there rising up and down with the swell, and they're jumping out of the water. It's hallucinatory. And then they go by, and they pass me by, and I'm just like, this is, how old am I now, 57? This is like 30-some-odd years ago. Clear as a bell. One of the best moments of my life. I thought, I have just put myself in a shitty moment, and it turned into the most beautiful thing. Like I said, I didn't even try and catch a wave. I just sat there and said, oh, Mother Ocean.
Dude, I almost wish, it's definitely a holy shit moment. It definitely is. But at the same time, as I just mentioned before, the deer scene that we usually do every August. This is a wonderful submission for the deer scene.
What's the deer scene? I'm not hip to that.
Okay, well, this is a moment in life that maybe. Well, then again, I guess not, because what I tried to do is with the deer scene, I have a reference to the Stephen King novella The Body, which became the story, the movie Stand By Me. And in the movie, there is that scene between Gordy and the deer early in the morning where he just comes face to face with the deer by the train tracks. And it was this really like angelic moment that meant so much more than just, and of course, when we read the short chapter in the book, in the novella, it goes into what that meant and what that moment, locking eyes with the deer that early in the morning on that particular trip, meant for him all throughout his life. And I think they end. Stephen King ends the chapter by saying something like, "It's hard to get people to appreciate the important things in life." Almost like, well, if you were to tell the average person, "Oh, this one time I went on a hiking trip with my friends, I came face to face with a deer. It was the most important moment in my life," most people would be like, "Who the hell cares?" But
what have you done?
Exactly. But it was the impact, and that's where people share their stories like that in August. Now you have something.
If I may, real quick.
What?
Wow, that when you brought up that deer story, that I lived in Rochester, New York, as a teenager, and I used to always ride my BMX bike at this place called the Exempts. And I remember one day coming down this big hill and around a corner, and
boom, I almost ran into it like a big buck, like a 8-10 point buck just standing there. And we did the same thing. I'd forgotten all about it.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be exclusively about deer. It's just a moment.
Oh no. I'm just saying you reawakened. And that was another. I live in the woods. Those things like that have been like. No, the important thing is to stay close to nature. Don't sell yourself out. Don't take the easy money because it's never easy. Nothing's easy. And put in the hard work and be close to nature. Stay grounded. Stay rooted. And that's what it's done for me.
Yeah.
Moments like that.
Well, I mean, you definitely had a great share here tonight, my friend, and thank you for calling.
My pleasure. Keep it up.
Yes, and call in again because obviously we're going to need you in August at least. And as I was saying, I guess it doesn't really fit because Eric's story is much bigger. I mean, that's a story that anybody would hear and just be like, "Oh shit! Oh no!" You attracted the attention of a shark 200 yards away from the shore. That in itself is just like people are at the edge of their seat, and then it gets even bigger when you have this entire dolphin civilization that comes and just rushes by you and splits the sea. And you have validation and you have encouragement that you are not going to get eaten. But then you also have this other majestic experience with the dolphins. I mean, that's something that is that's bigger than the deer scene. I think it's a little it just may be a bigger holy shit. It goes from a it goes from a death holy shit to a life holy shit. That's one. I forgot to ask everybody, rainy summer night or snowy winter night? Should have asked them that. Okay. Anyway, you can call in. The Old Things New line, 914-200-0269, and the Holy Shit line is the hotline we've got most of the calls on so far. 914-369-1236. 714, you're on the Old Things New line. How you doing?
Hi, Frank. I got a better surfing story.
So if it's a holy shit story, then call in on the other line and let's try to keep this organized in some way, because I would like to get, if there's anybody out there that is reflecting on the other thing, I would like to get those in and not miss them out because people are calling in with random stuff on isolated lines. Okay, so here we go. I have one over here. Frank, after listening to your Friday show, I have an oh shit moment to share. If you're still doing that segment next week, I'll try to keep it concise. It was a regular afternoon around maybe 4:30 p.m. in my neighborhood. I decided to take a walk to the local gym not far from our house. As I'm passing an elementary school, I see two guys that clearly look like trouble. They were walking on the opposite side of the road. I had an instinct that they were trouble then. And as I passed them, gunshots started firing. Luckily, no kids were in the school at the time. The bullets were traveling past me very close and pinging off a metal marquee at the school. I could hear them whistle as they passed me, just like a cartoon. It happened very quick. When the bullets started, a stern and semi-deep voice, which was not my own, said, "Move." So they heard a voice inside said, "Move." I jogged across the street very calmly, stood behind a tree that was about 4 feet wide in circumference. The bullets continued. Across the street from the school was a park where children were playing, and this is where the tree was located. All the parents, besides one father, were looking around blankly with no concern as their children continued to play. It was a very strange experience because I felt calm the entire time. I'm used to the sound of guns since I frequently practiced shooting, and I knew exactly what it was when it started. After the bullets stopped, myself and another father got away from the park. There was another person in a car nearby shooting at the suspicious guy that I had passed. They were rivals. No one got hurt that day. Bad guys were sent away, but not sure for how long. The guys that I had passed and the suspect in the car were all criminals. The oh shit moment was very calm and direct instead of panic. I just did what the voice said. Takeaway from this story is for people to listen to their instincts and gut situations. Stay calm and aware. I do not know what that voice was, but it was not a voice to question. Signed, K. That's good. To be led through the holy shit moment is a big one. Now we have random bits. We have random bits of wisdom over here. I'm going to start dropping on in, because that is the whole point of tonight. We're going to be doing a little bit less. I'm getting off in about 45 minutes, around 8:30. So I'm going to take a real quick break right now. When we come back, more of your holy shit moments. I'm going to put a little bit of random hits of wisdom from some screenshots that we've collected over the years, and then more. That's it. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Let's watch something else, butthead. No way. Those chicks at school said they love this show. And now we must figure out why, so that we can score with them.
Welcome to Intermission. Intermission.
You are now entering, quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Watch Quite Frankly and stuff.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
All my fellow Franciscans.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly. We'll be in the gulag with you, Frank.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Yo, what's good, Frank?
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly podcast.
I want to get a Coke. Can I get a Coke?
So everybody watch, Quite Frankly, with Frank.
Quite frankly.
How dare you?
A policing procedure in New York continues to draw controversy this week as thousands took to the streets to protest the NYPD's Stop and Kiss program. The policy, which allows officers to kiss anyone who they think looks suspicious, has been the subject of criticism from those who say it's a violation of privacy and a potential breach of constitutional rights. New Yorkers who've been stopped often say the encounters feel extremely intrusive.
Going through my pockets, throwing my stuff on the ground, kissing me on my neck and face. They push me up against the wall and start nibbling on my ear. It's humiliating.
It's something you learn to live with at this point. Every time I go out and I see a cop, I'm ready for him to come up, ask me questions, and give me a little kiss, just because, the color of my skin. I mean, you don't see them kissing any pretty white ladies out here.
In his last month in office, Mayor Bloomberg has continued to defend the practice, saying, quote, "This program helps keep New Yorkers safe. If someone is suspected of a crime, officers should be allowed to question them and leave them with a small and reasonable kiss on the mouth." Joining us now is legal analyst Susan Hughes and Mark Brennan, a former police officer who has defended the Stop and Kiss program. Susan, does this policy go too far?
It does, Rachel. Look, it's one thing to kiss someone who you think might commit a crime, but these officers are just kissing people left and right with no probable cause.
If you've got nothing to hide, then it's not a problem. They just stop, ask where you're going, give you a gentle kiss or two, and let you go.
I am not saying that the police shouldn't be able to detain people and kiss them, but it has to be done in a colorblind way. I mean, the fact of the matter is 9 out of 10 people who are kissed under this policy in New York are black and Latino.
Yeah, that's because officers are kissing people in high crime areas. These kisses aren't racially motivated. The police are just doing their job.
But Mark, there have been examples, public examples, where these procedures have just gone too far. Let's take a look at a disturbing cell phone video that's been making the rounds on the internet.
Stop! Put your hands on your head. Oh, come on, man. They just kissed me 2 blocks ago. Come on, man. I didn't do anything.
Shut the f*** up and let me kiss you.
This is happening every day.
But some argue this is just the unfortunate reality we live in. Tighter security at airports, sporting events, kiss points in Washington, D.C. Commissioner Kelly said, quote, "This is what post 9/11 police work looks like. Honestly, if we could kiss everyone in New York City, we would. We just don't have the manpower."
Look, the cops can either kiss people now before there's violence, or they can be kissing a bunch of dead bodies at a crime scene.
All right, well, thanks, Mark and Susan. It is a complex issue. When we come back, a new health study finds that eating McDonald's at the airport doesn't count.
Okay. A small and reasonable kiss. There's always time. There's always time for one last kiss. Okay. All right, ladies and gents. So here we have it. We have the Holy Shit hotline is popping. We're going to take some more people on. Here's another Holy Shit for you. And this one was scarier than I thought it was going to be. Nothing goes wrong. But somebody goes skydiving at about, I don't know what they say here, 4,500 meters. That's what's here in the title, 4,500 meters. Posted 2 years ago. Got the GoPro going. Skydiving through a cumulus cloud, which I had to click immediately. Immediately I had to click because I'm saying to myself, whoa. I wanted to jump through a cloud. Well, the holy shit moment is, even in the success, I'm looking at this video right here and I say to myself, absolutely not. This is frightening. It's frightening. I mean, it frightens me. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me quiet Frank for a second. Here you go. Watch this. It's only a minute long. Jumping through a cumulus cloud. Some of you would do this, I know. Oh, away he goes. Hasn't hit the cloud yet. I'd be freaking out right here going, you know what? I don't want to do this. A couple of flips. I don't want to do it. No, I don't want this. And boom. Look at that. Soaking wet. That's nuts, man. And to know that there's nothing underneath. And it took so long to get through. Jeez Louise. It took so long to get through, man. But, yeah, that's, yeah. So, that's a holy shit moment. And everything went well. All right. Just putting that out there. 914-369-1236. Let's take a call. Matt from Montana. What's going on, man?
Hey, Frank. Matt from Montana.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
Yes, it has been. What do you got for us?
So I do have an oh shit story. I just jumped on the podcast or the show, and I caught somebody talking about a kayak story, and I have a kayak story too. It's
a story. You know, it's something where obviously you got away okay, but it was just it was huge. Your whole life flashed before your eyes. It wasn't a near-death experience. There was no injury caused, or not a severe injury caused, at least. Nothing really serious, but that it was just too close for comfort. Oh, before we start, rainy summer night or snowy winter night? What are you taking?
Oh, snowy winter night.
Okay, go ahead. What's your holy shit moment?
Okay, yeah. So I think this is probably during COVID, and my buddy called me. And he's a whitewater guide. He's very experienced on water, rowing, all different types of watercraft. He calls me and says, hey, you want to go kayaking? And I'm thinking, hey, lazy float down the river. Most of the time, out here in Montana, we have it all. We have rapids, but most of the time it's just lazy floats down the river. You bring some beer and you just have a good time. You do tubing and everything. So anyway, he doesn't tell. I don't know where we're going, or I've never been on that stretch of river where we're going. And so I'm just expecting, an easy float, just a lazy float down the river. Bring some beers, got a kayak, throw a cooler on the back of the kayak. And we put into the water, and immediately we're hitting massive rapids. And with kayak paddles, there's two kayak paddle configurations. There's like,
well, we don't need the configurations. Just let's just get to the meat and potatoes here.
Sure. Okay, so I'm not used to the kayak paddle configuration, and I don't have time to adjust my stroke, but I power through the first set of rapids, and then get to the next section where it's massive hydraulics and rapids, and I didn't have my life jacket tight because I wasn't expecting to be going through rapids. And I'm going through the section, and then my kayak flips over. I go under. I'm under for quite a while. My life jacket, since it's not tight, goes up over my head to where I can't see. And that's the only way I can tell that which way is up. Mm-hmm. And, everything tips over, and I'm trying to recover. And probably at this time, I'm really out of shape and not the greatest swimmer I could be, but I was under there for quite a while and probably almost drowned. And then, finally, eventually recovered. My kayak is down the river. My paddle's down the river. All my beer dumped.
Yeah, but at that point, who cares? At that point, who cares? No.
Yeah, but I had to sit on the side of the river for like half an hour to an hour, just gathering myself, life flashing before my eyes. So lesson, whenever you go kayaking around the water and you're wearing a life jacket or PFD, tighten it up.
Tighten it up. That is from Matt in Montana, and he prefers a snowy winter night. Thank you so much for the call, Matt.
See you, Frank. Thank you.
All right, here you go. Here's a call. Here is a here's a little bit of now we're going to start dropping in some just random wisdom. This came from Mike from Maryland. Shopping cart wisdom just came in about a minute ago. Says, Frank, most of us are familiar with the famous shopping cart post on 4chan, but today it gained even more importance for me. You want me to reread that just so you know what it is? Here it is. The shopping cart is the ultimate litmus test for whether a person is capable of self-governing. And I am staunch on this. I have reposted this over the years, and people said, Frank, this is ridiculous, or you're calling me an animal. I'm like, if you can't handle this, I don't know what to tell you. Listen, to return the shopping cart, this is why this is a huge litmus test here. To return the shopping cart is easy, convenient task, one which we all recognize as the correct, appropriate thing to do. To return the shopping cart is objectively right. There is no situations other than dire emergencies in which a person is not able to return their cart. Simultaneously, it is not illegal to abandon your shopping cart. Therefore, the shopping cart presents itself as the apex example of whether a person will do what is right without being forced to do it. No one will punish you for not returning the shopping cart. No one will fine you or kill you for not returning the shopping cart. You gain nothing by returning the shopping cart. You must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart. You must return the cart because it is the right thing to do, because it is the correct thing to do. A person who is unable to do this is no better than an animal, an absolute savage who can only be made to do what is right by threatening them with the law and the force that stands behind it. The shopping cart is what determines whether a person is a good or bad member of society. And I really, really like that. I think that is very well thought out. I think that it is indestructible. The logic is indestructible. You say it's a little severe? I don't know. I had a couple of friends, Frank, but they have people who are paid to go and put the shopping carts back. I said, yeah. Because of the animals who refuse to do it themselves, that they actually had to. Don't tell me that all is forgiven because companies, grocery stores, shopping centers had to go out there and create new lines of employment just to clean up after people who don't take care of their own shit. It's serious. It's serious. And I've been guilty of it in the past. But I'll tell you, I mean, this was posted years ago at this point, but it has been a very long time since I have not taken the effort of at least bringing the shopping cart back, because now most grocery stores and stuff like that, they will have different receptacle parking slots, with the it's almost like a pen. They'll put like these little shopping cart pens all over the place. I'm bringing that thing to the nearest pen. I don't care what the hell's going on. If it's an emergency, which it never is, then I'll think twice. But it's true. Anyway, getting back to Mike from Maryland. He said, most of us are familiar with the famous shopping cart post, but today it gained even more importance for me. I just returned from the grocery store and I was about to park. I noticed a shopping cart blocking the space I selected and moved on to another space. As I put the car in park, I noticed another shopping cart blocking another parking space across from me. I should really move these carts, I thought, but the distance and the time would be inconvenient. And then destiny intervened. A car approached and was heading for the same spot I initially was, and the woman driving the car expressed the same disappointment upon seeing the shopping cart obstacle blocking the way. I jumped into action, heroically removing the shopping cart from the space and returning it to the designated shopping cart return area, as the maiden heaped thanks and praise upon myself and my noble actions. There was still the issue of the second cart blocking a space, but I felt as though I had done my part, so I entered the grocery store and conducted my business. Having concluded my affairs, I returned to my cart, and to my shock, not only was the second shopping cart still blocking that spot across from me, but a third shopping cart now made itself a menace. This one was squarely in the middle of a parking space, taunting me. Although burdened with my 2% milk. Mike, 2% milk? Why even buy milk? Just buy skim. Ugh, that's all I can think about now. Although burdened with my 2% milk, toilet paper, and baked potato salad, I promptly returned both carts to their proper space. The lesson here is that problems need to be nipped in the bud immediately. They must be solved as soon as they are found. Otherwise, they will spread, and you will have to work extra hard in the future to fix them. That's a very good one. That's a good one. That's a piece of wisdom right there. And yeah, we live in a society where most problems were not nipped in the bud. In fact, most problems were deliberately planted and fertilized so that they would bud and bloom and spread and choke off everything that was once healthy and good. So thank you for that, Mike. Let's go. 914-369-1236. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take and work with the Revelations story, the Revelations Discoveries and Revelations thread, and I'm actually going to put it into the forum, and I'm going to build that one up because it's a big night. Maybe some people just aren't getting it. It's fine. I'll work on it a little bit more, make it a little bit more palatable and a little bit easier to apply, because I think that would be a great night. 641, you're on the air. Go ahead. 641. Okay. 843, you're on the Holy Shit hotline. What's going on?
Oh, I can't believe it. I've never done this before, but I just kept trying.
Who is it?
I have a story that happened, I think about 40 years ago, that I just kept calling the number because if this helps one person, probably a woman more than a man, but here's what happened. Because that could have been it. I was employed by the state of South Carolina. I was in diabetes education. I had a state car, was on I-26, returning to the coast, and the car broke down. And foolishly, I got in the first car that stopped. And it was a truck, and there was a man in the truck. I don't remember.
You were not. Hold on. You weren't hitchhiking though. Somebody just saw you got on the side of the road.
No. I I was working.
Okay.
I was in a state vehicle. The car broke down, and I just got out of the car and stood naively, got in the car or the truck of this man who told me all kinds of things I never searched to see if they were true. He said he was married to the daughter of the governor of Virginia. And I was married to a man from Virginia at the time. And I don't remember if I ever documented, but we were driving along. I was about, let's say maybe 70 miles from my destination. And then things went very south. He started doing very inappropriate things that basically what I did was I believe I disassociated. And I behaved as though I wasn't observing any abnormal behavior. And then he reached into his glove compartment and got a knife out. And I maintained my composure. And I mean, it was like a really sharp knife, and he was exposing himself. And I looked at the exit and I said, this exit is fine. And I think he was really ticked off that I didn't freak out. It was screaming and all of this, because all the time I was thinking about what will happen if I open up the door of the car and just roll out. Well, I probably would have killed myself, but he pulled over, I got out, and then I started screaming. So for anyone finding themselves in this situation, which clearly I should not have accepted a ride like that. I don't think I had a cell phone at the time. This is pre-cell phones, although I think my spouse had one of those original, like, big cell phones.
You
So,
said this was 40. You said this was 40 years ago, right?
yeah.
No, wow.
So-
Well, that is, if that's not a holy shit but I mean, so obviously he's exposing himself and all that stuff, but he also takes out the deadly weapon, and yeah, you do. I would categorize that as a disassociation, as just as a defense mechanism there, just to be able to calmly say something to get him to pull over, and thankfully he did, because holy shit, you know.
Yeah. So rather than you would think the normal reaction would be to scream and yell, but disassociating has its positive side. So that's really the main reason why I just persisted. And I don't know how many times I hit redial. I've never called into a show, but if the thought gets imprinted into someone's mind in a similar situation, you can possibly save your life.
You know, I think that is going to be instinctual for a lot of people. To hear it is really great, but obviously it was instinct for you, because prior to that, I don't know, it doesn't sound like anything like that had happened prior to. So it was just one of those things where maybe you're actually doing the calculations really quick in your head. If you're inside the cabin of his truck and you're going at cruising speed on the highway or something like that, what the hell is screaming going to do? You have to find a way to keep things. You have to keep him off balance, and hope that with a roll of the dice there, you can just very nonchalantly request to be be pulled, to take me anywhere, the next exit, whatever the hell it is. And maybe just not seeming fazed by anything is just, it disarms the whole situation. Obviously, in your case, it did.
Well, it did, and there was history, and there's history for so many of us that my history went back to when I was 4 years old, and that history, I believe, kicked in again, and I brought it up many years later with family who had awareness. But when we learn behaviors of survival, sometimes we call them into use again.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This actually, I remember Kathy O'Brien going through this very same thing with us a couple of times, where the disassociation is something that is actually triggered in people to be able to actually compartmentalize and break apart the brain, or fracture a person's consciousness to bury certain triggers and bury certain personalities and other things there, other base programming into a person, and then of course, in a way, piece them back together anew. So everything you're saying right now is pretty familiar, at least to me, because we've heard it discussed in other nefarious ways. But it's I really appreciate you going there tonight, because that is a major moment. I mean, it's not like you had a bear charge at you in the woods, but you kind of did. I mean, you came face to face with a predator in the wild, and thankfully you got away with it. And you're talking to us 40 years later. So thank you for the call. I'm glad you stuck with it.
And Kathy O'Brien is to be celebrated for her heroic journey and sharing her journey. And I will say, the previous caller who talked about being in nature communicates to all of us, and that's such a healing that is offered in spite of anyone's situation. I strive to be in nature at all times, looking for earthworms, looking for restoration of the soil, of people. And that's been my life's work. It started out actually, at that time I was in diabetes education, and I went into health restoration, and I've seen people be restored who appeared to be non-restorable. So there's always hope, and the hope lies primarily in nature.
Well, I can agree with that. I had a nice little moment or two in nature with Lauren and Aurora last week in Maine. Our moments there were very, very restorative in that respect. And again, I thank you for calling in tonight. And before you leave, let me ask you, rainy summer night or snowy winter night? What do you prefer?
Well, my first winter was in the mountains, and I was adapting. So I would say hot, humid over cold of any kind, because it's being adaptable. And I had quite a challenge adapting to a freezing January, but it was good. It was another teaching.
So rainy summer night.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for the call. It's great to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
There you go. That's a good one. Rainy summer night. There we have it. By the way, that won it out. I should say that the actual poll over the weekend, 417 votes just came in, and it was rainy summer night by 56.1% over snowy winter nights, 43.9%. Now, I'll take rainy summer night as well. You know why? I work very well in the rain and the snow inside at night. It's very, very cozy. You wake up the next morning, you don't have to shovel rain if it did in fact stop raining. But I like rain to go all throughout the night. The other thing is that depending on what comes along with the rain, it's the least likely to lose power. If it's high winds, maybe you got an issue there. But even with snow, if you just got a lot of volume, and even if you don't have a lot of wind, still the weight on the power lines, something can go just because of the weight of the snow, especially if it's wet and heavy. So definitely I say that rainy summer night has an edge with me. though I really do enjoy snowy winter nights as well. But there's the edge. That's it. All right, here's another little drip of wisdom for you. You ready for this? This is from a post in 2020. Anonymous says, "Rejoice, for struggle is what gives man purpose and makes him strong. Pain is a master. With great pain comes great wisdom. With dire need, great heroism. Do not lament that our generation is tasked with the monumental mission before us. Do not shirk your duty of righteous struggle. For what else does life exist? Every great and good thing in life is achieved by struggle, even the down on the chemical level. Even the down on a chemical level, your very atoms are, even down. They put a rogue the in there. Even down on a chemical level, your very atoms are overcoming the great entropy that constantly threatens to envelop them all. Chemically, energy must be given to cause reactions to reverse the natural state of decay that we exist in. The greater the energy, the greater the reaction. Are you no different than your very fabric of your being? Like your own humanity struggles against chaos and its form itself, you too must struggle against it and form the greater organism of society. That is your input. We should expect and embrace the worst, for what will be forged in the flames of these times will be a generation of unbreakable giants, so do not despair. Every once in a while, inside of all the craziness, obviously you get less and less of this on the boards these days. Heyday is long, long since past, but that's nice. Let's take a call. 724, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello, who's this?
Hey, it's me, Andy.
Mandy?
Andy.
Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Frank. How you been?
I'm all right. So what do you got for me? A holy shit moment?
Well, it's not so much a holy shit moment for me as it is for my mother. She passed away like 8 years ago. So about 9 years ago, while she was still healthy, we had a family gathering. And I'm a magnet for crazy shit, and I'm a black sheep of the family. And they were making fun of me because as a little kid, going on a family vacation, and one of the restaurant we stayed at was like a restaurant hotel, had a B-52 in the front yard, and the restaurant was a bomb shelter. And I was sitting in the corner, and all of a sudden I started hit in the back of the head with these butter packets. And there's no one around, you know. There's an old man to the right, but we're reading off dishware, not his curveball. You know, he's more interested in his soup than throwing butter at a little kid. So they're laughing at this paranormal stuff, and I was like, hey, that's not even the wildest. The wildest story is when you guys went to move in 92, they went to move to an A-frame. So to know the story, you should know the layout of the house.
Wait.
The A-frame had
Wait. Are you done with the butter story?
Yeah. The butter story was like, oh, he has ghosts around him, blah blah blah, you know, yucking it up. And
but you were in this. You were in this bomb shelter restaurant with the B-52 out front, and you were getting hit in the head with butter sticks, and there was nobody around.
No, butter packets, like butter packets for like rolls and stuff.
Yeah.
Prepackaged little butter packets.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of those bounced off the back of my head, and I'm sitting in the back corner where there's no one behind me. You know.
And your family was there to witness it.
Oh yeah, and they were making fun of me for it.
Okay, so you're catching shit about that. Okay, so what's the holy shit moment for your mom? Go ahead.
I said that wasn't even the half of it. They wanted to move from where we were, and we were looking at another house. And I was like 7 years old, and this A-frame, it has a root cellar that you enter in. That's the entrance to the root cellar, and then it opens up to the A-frame, and you can look up to the lofts. And as I'm looking up to the loft, I can see myself looking down at myself. So I'm having dual perception, you know, and I get vertigo real bad, and I fall down. And the time when I hit the ground, all of a sudden I wasn't there. I was in another room, and it was up in one of the lofts, and I was wearing a Letterman's jacket, and there's another kid in front of me, and he goes, "Hey, look, I got my dad's gun. I found it." And then it goes off, hits me in the chest. There's blood coming out. I open it up and fall backwards, and the last thing I see is this marionette puppet. And I never told them about that. I just fell over, and that's all they're aware of. My mom freaked out, picked me up,
Listen,
took me to the car.
Okay.
She didn't hear about this story until I told her that day. And it turns out they didn't buy that house because the family was selling it because their son was recently shot in that very instant.
So you had
white as a ghost.
So you had a paranormal you had a paranormal attack essentially at
Yes.
this place, and it all came not in the form you were awake when it all happened. It wasn't like you were.
Oh, yeah,
you were
I was awake.
It wasn't like your dreams were getting attacked every night. It was
No.
Okay,
This was as I was waking.
so
The
that's
whole vision of what happened upstairs. And they went upstairs later, looked at the house, and even like when I talked to her and told that story, she was like, "I never told you about that marionette or the things that were in that house."
and that
You never
and
went
this
upstairs.
this house your mother bought or she was thinking about buying.
They were thinking about buying.
Okay, so obviously they didn't touch it after that, right?
Oh no, they didn't. Yeah, as soon as they heard the story about the kid getting killed by his friend in the accidental gun incident.
Well,
they're
you
like,
gotta-
nope, we don't want this house.
You got to
And
be.
Luckily, they didn't.
Luckily, because if that happened to you in such a short amount of time, can you imagine what would have happened to you guys? What you would have experienced over the course of several years staying there? It would have been. It would have been worse than Poltergeist. Well, hey, listen, that's holy shit enough for me. I'll definitely go into the. There's no rules to say that you can't have a paranormal holy shit story, and I appreciate this one, my friend. Thank you for calling in.
You have a good one, Frank.
Damn, can you imagine that? Can you thank you know what? As messed up as that is, thank God. Thank God that place was so haunted that it happened right up front and that there was no time in between that made the family consider maybe actually buying the place. Thank God. Hopefully it's been bulldozed and I don't know. Burn an entire tumbleweed of sage over it. I don't know what you got to do with that situation, but thankfully our friend over here on the line did not have to worry about anything. All right, 821 over on Super Chats, and we got a few over here. Take a listen to this. Cody says it was dark. Oh, hold on, wait. When I was 16 years old, dumbass. When I was a 16-year-old dumbass, I read that one wrong. When I was a 16-year-old dumbass, I launched over a cattle guard at almost 100 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere in Texas, only to see a herd of cows on the road. I don't know how I weaved through there without hitting one. That was some divine intervention, in my honest opinion. It was dark, obviously, like 1 a.m. It took me like an hour before I could drive over 25 miles an hour again. Most scared I've ever been in my life. Wow. That's a holy shit moment. Launched over a cattle guard at over 100 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere in Texas, only to see a herd of cows on the road. Don't know how I weaved through there without hitting one. I mean, if you think that the damage would be bad when a 175-pound deer hits a Toyota, then yeah, Cody, that is huge. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because obviously there was nothing wrong with him. You're shaken up because the rest of the time you're going home, you don't even want to surpass 25 miles an hour. But that is the wind. Jay Britt says, loving the stories tonight. Great show. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jay. Stoves Tube says, we support the one and only, quite frankly. Thank you, Christos. I appreciate you. Victoria L says, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. That's an Outcast quote. And it's really good wisdom. Very good wisdom. Hate Losing says, thanks for the great, interesting content, Frank. Well, thank you, Hate. It's one of those things where you got to call in. You got to be a part of it. We got a lot of people calling in right now. You got to be a part of it, and that's the world. It'll be waiting for us in a little while. It'll be there on the other side of the door. Zoso Dude says, I just scored a badass Quite Frankly t-shirt from the merch store. Go to quitefrankly.tv and hit the 3 blue dots in the upper left corner and browse. Love it. I saw that picture. He sent it's the portrait. It's the white shirt with the Quite Frankly Founding Frankly portrait. Very nice. We're very close to having a merch store commercial ready, because I keep forgetting to tell people, hey, we have merch, we have this, we have that. I'm not very good at advertising myself. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing if this is not just a passion, a love, but also something that I have for decades now wanted to turn into a fruitful career. I've got to be more diligent about this, so I ordered the production of a couple of commercials that I can put in rotation. So there you go. Remember, we have merch. We also have coffee. We have gold. We have a whole bunch of stuff on the affiliates page. Thank you, Zoso Dude. You know I wear the Zoso Dude. Actually, the original Zoso Dude mystery ship shirt is almost completely faded to nothingness now. I don't wear it on the show anymore because it's just embarrassing. It just makes me look like a bum. So I wear it to sleep. That's what I have on that. Okay, over on Rumble, 925 Wild Jesus, rainy summer night, rude Tuesday, and why rainy? I drive a truck and you can't drive in the snow. It's not Rude Tuesday tonight. Rude Tuesday is one of those things that I tested out and I'm going to take out and dust off every once in a while, especially when we have a real short show, like when we have a formal band practice. I'm going in there to meet with some of our bassist, Derek, is here tonight, and I'm going to be meeting with him in about 5 minutes. So I just wanted to, but like we have a full band practice time off at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday or something. We only have an hour. Rude Tuesday. Open lines, call in, and you better say something nice. Okay. 925 Wild G says supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. All right. On the gold pills, thank you, Just Jesse. Thank you, Joe Elaine. Val Hall, Porpoiseful, C. Blanche. Nina Rock says, God bless you, Frank, Lauren, and Aurora. Today is my birthday. Can I get a shout out? Absolutely, Nina. Happy birthday to you. It's fantastic. All love in the world to Nina over there. And thank you, Joe Elaine, for the 2 cookies to round it all out. Okay, so here's what we got. I have a little bit more we can do, but we're running out of time. So what I would like to do now, since I caught up on all of the super chats and shit like that, is I'm going to do our badass of the evening, and away we go. Tomorrow is going to be another night with a whole bunch of cool stuff that we're going to be able to talk about, and that's that. Okay, so who is our badass of the night? Does anybody know? My gosh.
That's some badass shit.
It's pretty badass.
Yes, indeed. And he is coming in the form of American Marine sniper Carlos Hathcock. Listen to this. There are plenty of inspirational quotes and poems about how an individual should not walk on the road paved by others, but instead create their own path. Well, Carlos Hathcock took this quite literally when he shot an NVA, a North Vietnamese Army general. An event which was perhaps one, if not the most legendary moments in sniper history. Here's how. During a volunteer mission before the end of his first deployment, Hathcock went to assassinate an NVA general. The base where the NVA general was located was surrounded by dense forests on most sides. The one side that was not forest was a meadow of tall grass. That's right, the meadow offered far less concealment than the forest. Most soldiers would have probably approached the base through the forest as this offered more cover and thus lower chances of detection from the enemy. That was the exact reason why Hathcock did not do this. It would have been the most expected avenue of attack, so he made a shot there. He took a shot. It would be exactly where the enemy forces would head in an attempt to flush him out. He instead approached the base from the meadow, and when I say approached... No!
That's some badass shit.
That scared the shit out of me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Were you scared too? It would have been the most expected avenue of attack, so we went through the meadow. He approached the base in the meadow. When I say approached, I mean he literally crawled toward the base at 1,500 yards. This entire endeavor took 4 days and 3 nights. He did not eat or sleep during this time. He would not only move inches at a time when the wind blew in order to mask his movements. This was done using a technique called worming, which was a low crawl. By moving at a painfully slow pace, a couple of inches at a time, 100 times every hour, this made him imperceptible to the enemy. The ghillie suit that he wore allowed him to blend into the environment on top of that. At one point, a venomous bamboo viper crawled over him and nearly bit him. Hathcock was able to maintain composure and stay still, and the viper slithered away. As he penetrated the outer defense perimeter of the camp, enemy patrols were only a few feet away from him, and yet he remained undetected. He even crawled between 2 heavy machine gun turrets. Finally, on the 4th day, Hathcock crawled within firing range of the general. When the general exited his encampment, Hathcock fired a single shot which struck the general in the chest, killing him instantly. The entire enemy camp sprung into action, and as Hathcock predicted, immediately went to go search for the sniper in the woods. In turn, Hathcock crawled back slowly, the way that he came, and finished the mission safely without further incident. Many people regarded Hathcock's plan to crawl through the meadow to be suicidal. In the end, by taking the road less traveled, it allowed him to cement his spot as one of the most legendary snipers in history. And this was written by LFC Mandroid. That's at BigBounce01 on Twitter. So see stuff like this. This is from a couple of years ago. I said, oh, this is a badass thread if nothing else. So that's it for us tonight. That's it for us. What will Wednesday bring? Hopefully it'll bring you hanging out with me at 7 o'clock and more to chew on. Thank you guys and gals for everything. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now our super chatters, starting with Brother Zoso Dude, Cody, Jay Brits, Stostube, Victoria L, Hate Losing, and to all of our friends, well, thank you to 925 over there, the 2 Rumble rants that came in. We will see you guys tomorrow. I'm also going to release the treasure chest over there on D Live, so just remember on D Live, I'm starting to circle through you guys again. Love you all out there. Throw those lemons at me if you'd like, and I'm going to throw them right back. Good night, guys.
You're going to realize it one day. That happiness was never about your job or your degree or being in a relationship. Happiness was never about following in the footsteps of all of those who came before you. It was never about being like the others. One day you're going to see it. That happiness was always about the discovery, the hope, the listening to your heart, and following it wherever it chose to go. Happiness was always about being kinder to yourself. It was always about embracing the person you were becoming. One day you will understand that happiness was always about learning how to live with yourself, that your happiness was never in the hands of others. One day you will realize that true happiness comes from within, and no external factors can define it. It was always about you. It was always about you.